Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
We have a mild day in Buffalo, 66 degrees under cloudy skies. We talked about E.J. Manuel, the new leader of the Bills. For more, let's go down to our sideline reporter, Chris Button.
Hey guys, so when we met E.J. Manuel, he's this calm, collected guy, but Coach said he has a fiery side to him. Doug Marrone told us that he got so upset in last week's game that he actually slammed his helmet on the ground. Coach said, I love the passion from you, but don't throw the helmet. There's a communication device in there that we'd like to work today, but he certainly loves the passion from his rookie quarterback, guys.
All right, Chris, and you could see what Rondé was talking about with an impressive first game for him. Meanwhile, it'll be a few moments before we see E.J. on the field because the Panthers have won the toss. They'll get it. Dan Carpenter will be kicking off to Ted Ginn Jr. And running it out, Ted Ginn Jr. And he can bring it out, and he does just shy of the 30-yard line. So Cam Newton, in his third year, career low yardage, but this is what distinguishes him. Look, you're just off the field, Rondé, after defending him for a couple of years. What's it like?
Defending him for a couple of years, twice a year. You know, Cam is so dynamic. He can obviously run the ball. He has great numbers throwing the ball as well in his first 2 years. Expect a little bit of both of that today.
Well, first down on the 28. Passing on first down, and the pass is caught just shy of the first down by Steve Smith. And with the Panthers having the ball, Rondé, what do you look for the impact players today?
Well, it's funny that one of them is the guy right there, Steve Smith, who just caught that pass. He's still the emotional leader of this team. He had 1,100 yards last week. He's still willing to outwork everybody. And D'Angelo Williams led them on the ground last week. You want to get this running game going. On defense, look for Kiko Alonso, the rookie, to play sideline to sideline. Leotis McKelvin has got to anchor this young Bills secondary that's missing a bunch of starters.
Second down and 1, and there's the read option, and it's to D'Angelo Williams, who has the first down up to the 40-yard line. 3-yard pickup for D'Angelo Williams, who had 86 yards rushing. This is a team that runs the ball well, looking to pass a little more. So a first down at the 40-yard line by the Panthers, who were trying to end another pattern they have of getting off to slow starts, which they have in the Ron Rivera regime. Looking to throw again and getting some time, and the pass is incomplete, and it was intended for Brandon LaFell. So, Rondé, what would you say are the 3 burning questions we have coming into this one?
Well, today we got to figure out which one of these offenses is going to stretch the field. They both came in talking about it. Only two passes by both these teams over 20 yards last week. E.J. Manuel, can he continue to avoid mistakes? He had a mistake-free game last week. No sacks as well. See if he can maintain that under this tough Carolina pressure from this defense. And will Ted Ginn get an opportunity to return the ball? Doug Marrone said he is the biggest worry for special teams for this Buffalo Bills team. Defense.
He had a good return to start the game. Second down and 10. Pressure is picked up, and the pass is caught by Steve Smith. And Smith is out of bounds just shy of the midfield, short by about a yard, thanks to Leotis McKelvin, the Bills secondary. And that's where the Bills have a problem today. They're missing Stephen Gilmore. Jarris Byrd has been out. Ron Brooks has had surgery, so they're really short in the secondary.
And that's the one guy that they're going to have to make sure Leotis stays near. Steve Smith caught a ball in 93 straight games now, I believe, and that is going to be the matchup that they're going to have to work hard on this afternoon.
3rd and 1, 2 tight ends for Carolina. And there is the pass, and open is Greg Olsen, and Greg Olsen marches deep into Buffalo territory. Open on the left side. Denora Cersei makes the catch, and a 31-yard pass play to Olsen, who was the big receiver a year ago.
You see, he's over here. Get a boot play by Cam Newton. Kind of hides out. Defense full flow. Cam just reaches back, throws across the field. He had an opportunity last week to make a play when he was wide open, and he dropped it. Today he catches it in a big game for this Carolina offense.
Olsen last week, 5 catches for 56 yards. The early numbers for Cam Newton. And a first down on the 20-yard line. Very impressive opening drive so far. Cam Newton flush from the pocket and tripped up and will lose about 5 yards or so, make it 6 yards. And good pressure by Marcel Darius and Mario Williams, 2 of the front 4 of Buffalo.
Had good pressure there, yeah, Dick, but he also had nowhere to get rid of this ball. See Cam with plenty of pocket protection here. No place to step up and throw it, tries to scramble, runs into his own man. Falls on for the sack.
So now the ball back to the 26-yard line. Silatolo inactive last week to share the job with Travell Wharton at left guard. On 2nd down and 16, the pass is intercepted at the 19 by Kiko Alonso. And the first turnover of the game.
Bills fans got to be excited about this rookie.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
And the Bills get a turnover after a 56-yard, 7-play drive. Impressive till that turnover.
He had an impressive week last week. Here's Kiko Alonso right here in the middle. You see Cam's got this bunch of linemen over here to the right. He gets the guy to the flat, and it brings Kiko to the curl, and he makes a great diving interception for a turnover in the red zone for the Buffalo Bills defense.
LaFell was the intended receiver, so let's see what the Bills do now. And there's a familiar look with the towel over the head of Cam Newton. First down for E.J. Manuel, and he throws it out to the far side to Frank Summers, the fullback, still on his feet. And Frank Summers, getting into Panther territory on a big first play from scrimmage, gets 34 yards.
Dick, I'm not quite sure how he's wide open here, but this was an easy read for E.J. Manuel. We'll see here on the replay. Quick play action. You see him under center a lot more. We'll see him a lot more under center this game than he did last week.
And the run, Quentin Michael stopped C.J. Spiller for no gain, and there is E.J. Manuel, and there's the numbers that Rondé was talking about against New England, and mistake-free, was not sacked and did not throw an interception, and that's got to be very impressive for a rookie.
I'll say, Dick, he's got such a calm, cool demeanor. You kind of expect this.
Handoff to Spiller, gets a good hole up the middle, and Spiller dives for the first down. And he gets to the 36-yard line, and talk about impact players, Rondé.
Well, one of them is C.J. Spiller for the Buffalo Bills. He had a breakout year last year. They need his playmaking ability to take some pressure off their young quarterback. Stevie Johnson's our other one. The 1,000-yard receiver 3 times in a row on defense. It's got to be Luke Kuechly. He is the crutch for this defense. He had a great rookie season, and Charles Johnson at DN is a dynamic pass rusher.
Fred Jackson in for Spiller, gets 5 yards. So Fred Jackson, all-purpose back, very quietly doing a good job for this team. 67 yards rushing, 41 as a receiver last week, getting 5.
Last week he picked up the slack when C.J. Spiller was having a rough day. But C.J. Spiller's off to a good start today.
2nd down and 5, and here is Manuel, gets some time, and the pass is incomplete. Downfield inside the 10, intended for Stevie Johnson. So 5 minutes gone by, we've had a turnover, and now the Bills trying to score first in this one. Well, the Bills, 3rd down situations last week, 4 for 13. They need 5 yards here. And here is Jackson. Close to the first down. The initial mark is that he is shy. Quentin Michael, the former Ram, who is starting today for Mike Mitchell, who is active and will play. And it is a first down for the Bills.
It's a different play call right there for Buffalo. Third down, choose to run the ball. You see these stats from last week. C.J. Spiller only had 41 yards on 17 rushes, but Fred Jackson, when given his opportunity, definitely picked it up, got 67 yards, helped his team rush for 136 last week.
From the 26, Spiller back in the game, and the quick pass down to the 21-yard line is caught by Robert Woods, who caught his first NFL pass, and it was a touchdown last week. And Davis making the tackle and a gain of 6. So here were the Panthers marching downfield. They turned it over, and now the Bills with T.J. Graham back in the game with 3 wide receivers. 8th play of the drive for Emmanuel, and his pass overthrowing the tight end Scott Chandler.
He had him open there, Dick. Scott Chandler running through the middle of the field. You know, when you get these hurry up offenses, defense have a hard time adjusting sometimes. You see nobody picks him up straight through the zone. VJ makes an easy pass, or a better pass. That's an easy touchdown for the Bills there.
And talk about big third down play early in this game. It'll be 3rd down and 4 from the 20. Do the Bills keep the ball, or do they have to try the field goal? And that is answered in a hurry as Star Latulele makes the tackle on Fred Jackson and a loss of 4 yards. How about Latulele in his game last week, a rookie from Utah?
Everybody we talked to from Carolina was so impressed with the rookies' play last week. Him and Quan's play up front was spectacular, and he just penetrated the gap there, forcing the Bills into a field goal opportunity here.
A 42-yard try by Dan Carpenter. Dustin Hopkins unable to play, so it's Carpenter again. And Carpenter's kick is no good, off to the right. Dustin Hopkins unable to kick today, so Dan Carpenter misses the field goals. So Cam Newton, who threw the pick, coming back to work for the Panthers when we come back.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Well, they call this a Chamber of Commerce Day here in Buffalo, so still September, but good weather today. First down on the 32. And here is D'Angelo Williams, who picks up about 8 yards to the 40-yard line. The Panthers drove 46 yards the first time they had the ball, Ronde. The Bills went 57, but no one scored.
Yeah, turnover by the Carolina Panthers and a missed field goal by the Buffalo Bills. Kind of equals to nothing. 2 great drives early in this football game, no points. Kind of back to what I was talking about with Carolina. They have these early opportunities, and Cam Newton mentioned this to me the other day, that they just haven't found a way to score early in the half, or early in the game, or early in the second half either.
Second down and 2. Brandon LaFell to the bottom part of your picture. Ted Ginn to the top on 2nd and 2, and it's going to be play action for Cam Newton. He has a lot of time, off balance, overthrows Ted Ginn Jr. And for a game break, let's check in with Kurt Menefee.
Well, a couple of firsts for Steven Jackson in his first game against his former St. Louis Rams team. He scores his first Atlanta Falcon touchdown. 8 yards on the reception, and Atlanta's up 7-0 right now in the first quarter. They can run day.
All right, thank you very much, Kurt. And we have an injured Bill on the field. It's Marcel Jarius, the defensive tackle, and so we will take a timeout here. No score midway through the first.
Today's game is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving. By Lexus, introducing a car designed with one purpose, to stand apart. The all-new 2014 Lexus IS. And by Microsoft Surface. Click in and do more.
So the injured player, Marcel Darius, being tended to on the sideline. Alan Branch, former Seahawk, replaces him. Ron Rivera, in his 3rd year as head coach of the Panthers, they want to reestablish the running game, responsible for winning their last 4 games last year, but so far they have run only twice, Ronde, and passed 7 times.
When they were dominant, they had D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart running the ball down your throat every single play. The emergence of Cam Newton as a runner has hampered that a little bit. Offensive coordinator Mike Schuler is trying to get back to it, I think.
It'll be 3rd down and 2. And the pass is caught. First down. Greg Olson with his second catch of the game. He has really become the dangerous receiver for this club. I know Smith has been around. You've defended him for a lot of years.
Yeah, I think Smith is the most explosive player on this team, but Greg Olsen is definitely the most reliable, is certainly if you ask Cam Newton.
Mike Shula, who is the offensive coordinator, was with Tampa Bay as well and had been with this franchise as the quarterbacks coach a couple of years ago. First down at the 44, and here is Newton trying to run outside. Defenders are there, and he's going to be limited to a couple of yards, does not get out of bounds, and the strong safety Aaron Williams, the converted corner, makes the play.
You know, when Chetinsky went away to be a head coach, you know, I think they liked Mike Shula in this offense because he knew the players and there was some continuity. One of the things he talked to us about was limiting those type of hits for their quarterback Cam Newton. It's why we won't see as much read option as we have in the past with him.
But he can run, and he was second to RG3 last year with 741 yards. Second down and 8. And Newton getting rushed. Finds an opening, and Cam Newton is going to be stopped about 3 or 4 yards shy of the first down. And it was Aaron Williams and Leotis McKelvin, the two healthy secondary performers of the Bills.
Look at our coverage, Cam. You see LaFell's down here. This is where he's looking. Got plenty of time in the pocket again. That offensive line is holding up for him. Can't see him out of the picture, but he had nowhere to throw that ball. And this is what Cam Newton can do. Even though he's not having the design runs, he can always get out of the pocket.
So it'll be 3rd down and 2 at the 48 of the Bills. They got to stop them on 3rd down, and that's what the Bills defense didn't do against Brady. Here comes the rush from behind, and Newton goes down, and it was Mario Williams. And the second sack of the game for the Bills, a loss of only 1, but that'll bring up 4th down.
See some of these long developing routes here for the Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton decides to hold on to the ball, can't find an open receiver right away, gives that defensive front a time to close in. See Mario Williams with the hard sack on quarterback Cam Newton.
So the Bills close the door on 3rd down, and Leotis McKelvin goes back deep. Brad Nortman will punt for Carolina. Good high kick kept in the field of play. Let's see where it goes, and it's going to take a Carolina bounce and be down at about the 6. So E.J. Manuel, who's completed 2 of 4 for 40 yards, he'll go back to work again when the Bills have a long way to go on this Orchard Park field. Doug Marone's first season as Bills head coach, knows the Panthers for several years ago before he was at Syracuse when he was the offensive coordinator with New Orleans. But E.J. Manuel and the Bills start from the 7. C.J. Spiller. And being stopped from behind is Luke Kuechly. And minimal gain on 1st down.
Doug Marone spent 4 years at Syracuse. He had offensive coordinator Nate Hackett with them there. Nate spent some time with me down in Tampa under John Gruden. Completely recreated that offense at Syracuse, tweaked it a little bit to fit into a pro scheme. And last week, him and his rookie quarterback did very well against New England Patriots.
And they hand off to Spiller, who has a running room and has a 1st down. C.J. Spiller holding on to the ball. Remember last week he fumbled early, and it resulted in a Patriot touchdown. Good block by Craig Urbick, the right guard, to get Spiller free for 21 yards.
See a really excellent block up here by the guard, the pulling tackle. C.J. Spiller does something that he didn't do well last week, and get downhill and get vertical. It's the one thing that was the knock against him early. He fixed it last year. It seems like he's fixed it in game 2 this season.
Red Jackson is into the game to give Spiller a breather. And the Bills getting out of trouble starting from the shadow of their own goal line and pick up 5 yards. Spiller or Fred Jackson. So it'll be 2nd down and 4 with under 3.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. No score. Jackson again. And he's going to be short of the first down by a few. And for a game break, let's check in again with Kurt Menem.
Well, Vikings rookie Cordero Patterson took the opening kickoff, 105 yards for a score, but the Bears came right back, marching down the field. Jay Cutler to Martellus Bennett, 1-yard touchdown, and it's even at 7 in the first quarter. Dick and Rondé.
All right, Kurt. 3rd down and 4. C.J. Spiller back in the game. And here is Manuel going up on top. And he overthrows Robert Woods. And so they did get out of trouble from the 7 on the run by Spiller for 21 yards, but can't move it beyond. And so it's a punting situation, and Sean Powell will come on. And the dangerous Ted Ginn Jr. is back.
This is one of the biggest concerns for the Bills special teams, because he's not going to have so many opportunities in a kickoff game, but punting, unless you're kicking it out of bounds, you give this dangerous returner a chance.
And the Bills know it, and a line drive kick. And here is Ginn at the 10. Gets slowed up and finally brought down by Garrison Sanborn, the long snapper, after an 11-yard return. Good punt of 55 yards. And Carolina gets the ball back in a scoreless game. No score, 2:34 to go in the first, and the Panthers will have the ball. They have run 4 times, twice by the quarterback Cam Newton, and they've passed 9 times and have been sacked twice. You wonder if they'll change that tempo right now.
They might need to. Cam looks a little bit uncomfortable in the pocket, can't seem to find his open receivers. You might see a little switch up here from Mike Shula in this offense.
From the 23. First down, and they hand it off to D'Angelo Williams, but he's going to lose a couple thanks to Kyle Williams. How about Cam Newton, what he's done in his brief career? Went over 8,000 yards last week passing, 8,045 to be exact. Last week tied for the 5th fewest in games reaching that mark.
I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't have believed this stat if you didn't throw it up here. 5th fastest in league history. Everybody thinks of him as a runner, but he is a dynamic player all the way around. He can throw the ball. 8,000 yards is pretty impressive in 3 years.
And as you know, he has the size too, which a lot of those other quarterbacks who play that style do not.
Yes.
2nd down and 11. Newton with a short drop, and he is going deep, and the ball knocked away. Pass was intended for Steve Smith, and McKelvin doing a terrific job on coverage there.
Talked about this matchup at the beginning of the game. Leotis McKelvin versus Steve Smith. All by themselves. Cam Newton drops back. Fade down the outside. Steve Smith still explosive, but Leotis McKelvin makes a great play, sticking his hand in there at the last second, not finding the ball.
You had to cover him 1,000 times.
I never made that play. Never made it look that good.
But you did okay.
We did all right. It's interesting to see that they don't have a double on Steve Smith. Most teams try to take him out that way. They're trusting Leotis to do it by himself.
Armani Edwards is in the game, and Cam Newton again has a world of time on 3rd and 11. And this pass to Brandon LaFell, and LaFell making the reception. Jerry Hughes defending on the play, and it will be a first down for Carolina. Tough catch.
You see Ted Ginn right here. I know he's not the one that caught it, but look how open he comes in this seam. Cam Newton doesn't see him. He scrambles. He's holding on to the ball a little bit, finds an open receiver late in that down. But he missed a wide open Ted Ginn on a dig right there.
He got 12 yards on the play. And so on 3rd and long, Panthers with the first down, and here's the fake on the run and the pass to the tight end Greg Olsen. And Olsen picking up 3 on first down.
You have to wonder, Dick, at what point during this game or even during the season will teams start to realize that Carolina doesn't run that much read option anymore? I know they line up, give the impression of it with a lot of the fakes, but Cam's usually either handing it off or using it as a play action fake. I think eventually teams are going to start to figure that out.
2nd down and 7 from the 37. D'Angelo Williams off the right side, and the Bills are there, led by Aaron Williams, and a gain of 1. And time running out here in this first quarter, and it's been a pretty clean game because there have been no penalty flags thrown.
See safety Aaron Williams come up, make a great open field tackle. If he hadn't have made that, and D'Angelo Williams would have got that edge, that looked like it could have been a big yardage play. You see Coach, defensive coordinator Mike Pettine with this many formations and personnel.
No score. That's the end of the first quarter here in Buffalo. 0-0, and Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Start of the second quarter here in Buffalo. Dick Stockton, Rondé Barber, and Chris Button. Carolina facing a 3rd and 6, have converted 3 of their 4 third-down conversions.
It's obviously the most important down in football. It's the one you spend most time working on during the week. See what Carolina has in store this play.
Cam Newton hangs in the pocket. It's tipped and incomplete, and it was Kyle Williams, who's played a terrific first quarter today defensively for the Bills, getting the tip, bringing up 4th down.
See Kyle Williams beating the block of Khalil, getting his hands up. You know, a lot of guys, a lot of coaches teach, if you're not going to get to the quarterback, you're not getting penetration, just wait till he gets ready to throw and get off your feet, make a block.
So Nordman will be kicking, and Leotis McKelvin is back deep. Good high kick. They're going to let it bounce, and it goes into the end zone for a touchback, and the Bills will start from the 20. How about the week 1 rookie quarterbacks the last 3 years? This is amazing when you think about this.
I know there was a time when rookies, the thinking on rookies was that they came into the season, would sit a little while, wait behind whoever was there. But it started with Cam Newton 3 years ago, and look where it's evolved to now. All these guys, a lot of dynamic quarterbacks right there, E.J. Manuel being one of them in this game.
And a first down at the 20-yard line, and an end around to Robert Woods. Robert Woods with a world of speed, and a good play by Josh Thomas. Josh Thomas coming back here, native of Buffalo. And Josh Thomas is shaken up.
Finding ways to get Robert Woods involved in this offense. Obviously we know he's a catcher, but wow, Josh Thomas laid a hit on him head first though.
And he is shaken up. University of Buffalo. And he's back here, shaken up. We'll be back.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Pizza Hut. Make it great. By Bose, the official home audio sponsor of the NFL. And by Rush from director Ron Howard, and based on the incredible true story. Rush, in theaters September 27th.
Josh Thomas out of the game, replaced by Josh Norman. Thomas started the last 4 last year, and here's C.J. Spiller. Thomas Davis making the tackle. Short of a first down by about 3 early here in the second quarter. Interesting, Rondé, that Stevie Johnson has no catches so far, only targeted once thus far.
Well, that was the thing last week. They didn't get as many targets on their wide receivers as they wanted to. So the talk out of Buffalo all week was how to stretch the field, how to get these special receivers involved more.
3rd down and 2, and there's Manuel going out in the flat to Spiller. He's got the first down and pushed out of bounds by Captain Munnerlin for a first down and a gain of 7. Coming into the game, the Bills were the only team in the league without a play of at least 20 yards in the opener, but Spiller had the 21-yard run early on. He has a first down here. From the 35, Spiller again getting a healthy dose of calls now, brings it up near the 40.
They have so many explosive elements on this offensive team with the wide receiver C.J. Spiller running well today. Just a matter of time before they hit one of these explosive plays, and that talk goes away, Dick.
He has averaged 7 yards a carry, 42 yards, but he's on the bench now as Jackson replaces him. And we'll have a whistle. And our first penalty of the game, it'll be a false start call against the Bills.
False start, number 74, offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
The left guard, Colin Brown. So Walt Coleman, the referee, has had an easy day so far.
Penalties were a huge problem last week for the Buffalo Bills. They had 10 accepted, flagged for a couple more.
Chris Hogan is in the game, and the handoff up the middle to Jackson. Jackson very quietly has been more than a serviceable back and a run-up backup back for Buffalo as he gets 4 yards here.
Times in his career he's been a starter up here in Buffalo.
They've outrushed Carolina, have the Bills 61-19. Hurry up offense here, and Manuel's pass is caught into Carolina territory to the 42 to Stevie Johnson. So there he is, 19 yards, first down Buffalo.
You asked for him, and here he was. It's in the slot down here. Stevie Johnson, just all seams, gets behind the cornerback, dumps it over, great throw, great catch, gives himself up for first down.
On the 42 of Carolina, and there's Chandler, the tight end, and the ball is knocked loose. And no call, and it was picked up by DJ Moore of Carolina.
Second down.
And they're going to bring it back and claim that it's an incomplete pass to Chandler here.
Watch E.J. Manuel. This is just a pop pass. Nate Hackett implemented this last year in Syracuse, and it seems like everybody's running this thing now. You get any kind of pressure, anybody uncovered on that tight end, or get the tight end uncovered, he just lets it go.
On second down and 10, Manuel goes out now to Jackson, and Mutterlin wrestles him down at the 40-yard line. So it'll be 3rd and long for the Bills in a scoreless game here. One of these teams looking to go 1-1, and there is Josh Thomas, the local boy, going into the locker room.
Walker.
3rd and 7. Bills have converted 3 of 5. Manuel gets it off to Jackson, and he's not going to get there as the Panthers defense closes down. And right now, for a game break, let's check in again with Kurt Menefee.
Well, the Falcons are beginning to open it up. Going against St. Louis. Here's Matt Ryan hooking up with Julio Jones. Breaks a tackle. Career-long touchdown reception. 81 yards in the score. Falcons up 14-0 as they start the second quarter. Dick and Rade.
And Kurt, they're trying to even their record in 1-1 after losing to the Saints. Now, Dan Carpenter, who missed a 42-yard field goal earlier in the game, this will be a 55-yard attempt. And Carpenter's kick is long enough, it's good. Making amends, Dan Carpenter. Former Dolphin, Cardinal, and Jet in camp this year. 55-yarder, putting the Bills in front, 3-0. Well, tonight on Fox Sports Live, and these guys are a riot. Join Jay Onright and Dan O'Toole as they recap all of today's action from the gridiron and the rest of the sports world. Don't miss Fox Sports Live tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1. And they are an entertaining combination.
Yeah, from north of the border, our Canadian brethren, they are very fun to be around.
There's the scoring drive, and the big play was the 19-yard pass to Stevie Johnson, his first catch of the game. So Carpenter, after kicking the 55-yard field goal, kicking off to Ted Ginn Jr. And this kickoff will be run out from 8 yards in by Ted Ginn. Turning the corner and gets a good return considering where he returned the ball from. And brings it out close to the 40. Cam Newton has been under pressure.
He's had some good protection in the pocket. You see a little bit of pressure there. He throws the pick to Kiko Alonso. Scrambling around looking for an open receiver, allowing that defensive line to hunt him down. And again here, see him trying to make something happen in the passing game. Holds on to it too long. Mario Williams with the sack.
Ball is placed at the 28. So Bill's trying to get after Cam Newton, who's rushed for 8 yards. First down on the 28. And Newton is going deep for Ted Ginn. And the pass is incomplete. Covered downfield by Justin Rogers. who replaced the injured Stephen Gilmore.
He had Ted Ginn beating Rodgers. Listen to this hit. It's on the ground 5 times now. Cam's got to make some quicker decisions with the football here. Seems like these plays are taking a little bit too long to develop. He's getting hit too much.
Well, he took the shot there to Ginn. 2nd down and 10.
Steve Smith down at the bottom of the field.
Here's D'Angelo Williams on the read option. Nigel Bradham is right there, stopping Williams for a gain of 1.
See Steve Smith down at the bottom of the field there. Leotis McKelvin has been following to either side of the football field. I think Cam's got to find his guy. Steve is traditionally the guy you look for on 3rd down. Greg Olson's been an option, but this team needs a spark. Steve Smith's been the guy that's given it to him over the years.
Caught only 2 passes, Rondé, and Williams has only gained 12 yards. 3rd down and 9. And Newton's pass, not even close to Smith, who was his intended receiver at midfield, thrown way behind him. So 4th down coming up, and Steve Smith with 2 catches for 18 yards, 4th down.
See Steve Smith comes in here and runs a dig. We used to say he was one of the best dig runners all time. Jake Delhomme used to put that ball on him right out of that break. Cam Newton, little high, that dig, that 15-yard in is so hard to defend for a cornerback. Getting his foot in the ground, and Steve Smith rounds it off better than anybody in the business.
Dortmund will kick, and we have a penalty flag. Movement in the line. Preliminary signal is against the defense.
Neutral zone infraction, 91, defense. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
So Manny Lawson, so instead of 4th and 9, it'll be 4th down and 4 now. But still punting it away. Doug Marone's team with a 3-0 lead here in the 2nd quarter. McKelvin did not return a punt last week against the Patriots. Skies the kick. And a return from inside the 10 by McKelvin. And tightrope down the sideline and gets a pretty good return considering from the 9. Cam Newton frustrated. 6 of 13 for only 68 yards, and he has missed his target sometimes badly.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by the 2013 Ford F-150 with EcoBoost.
Well, every weeknight on Fox Sports 1, join Kurt, Jay, and Mike for Fox Football Daily. Tomorrow they'll be joined by Howie to review all of today's games, preview the Steelers-Bengals game, and recap all of the college football action. Fox Football Daily is weeknights only on Fox Sports 1. To find Fox Sports 1 on your provider, go to foxsports1.com now. And you're having fun working in that group.
I am. There's a couple of fun guys to work with there now.
There you see the quarterback comparison thus far. Cam Newton throwing the interception, although the Bills did not convert on that turnover.
You see him sitting there with his quarterback coach. He struggled last week. He's struggling a little bit again today. Him and his receivers got to find a way to get on the same page. It's going to be more of the same for the Carolina Panthers.
From the 26, here is Spiller with a gain of about 2.5. C.J. Spiller has averaged over 6 yards per carry early on, including the long run of 21 yards.
That's exactly what his average was last year. 2nd in the league, only that big fellow in Minnesota.
Spiller gets the first down, going around left end, and a flag is down. And Spiller, and a flag goes down. A 2nd penalty marker as Spiller is pushed by one of the Panthers downfield.
Holding, number 85, offense. 10-yard penalty, still second
But
down.
Lee Smith, the backup tight end, was holding, will nullify a 38-yard gain by Spiller. And another flag is down at the 15. And they're conferring on that one. And that penalty marker was thrown after the run.
Yeah.
There's no foul for unnecessary roughness. The runner was running down the sideline, holding number 85 offense. 10 yards, second down.
You see the tight end holding on to Thomas Davis there on the end. One thing you did notice, even after the hold, was just how explosive C.J. Spiller can be. You see the hold right there in the middle of the... You see the hold right here in the middle of the screen. He's got him on right there. But C.J. Spiller with that explosive burst gets on the outside. Buffalo will be looking for more of that as this game goes on.
Fred Jackson on the delay in for Spiller. And he picks up a couple of yards. Luke Kuechly making the play. And a 2-yard pickup. So the hold by Lee Smith, nullifying the huge gain by Spiller, would have been 38 yards. Instead, the Bills are back to their 23. Tashard Choice has come in for Spiller. He is the third running back to be in there today for the Bills. Both teams 3 for 6 on third down conversions. They need 13 here, though. Manuel going out to Choice, and down he goes. Had no chance there.
Yeah, E.J. Manuel's being real smart with the ball, almost to the point of being overcautious. He hasn't forced any balls downfield today. Whenever he feels pressure, he just dumps it off to his back in the flat. That's why he was so efficient last week in his completion percentage. He's also not giving him a chance to make any plays down the field.
So Powell will be kicking to Ted Ginn Jr., always a threat. So E.J. Manuel has been cautious. You can't say that about Cam Newton. And we'll see whether he and his receivers can get on the same page again. Here's Ginn. And he is knocked away as he crosses the 40-yard line by Marcus Stoughton. But Cam Newton will have good field position when he comes back for the Panthers. If you look at the plays and the time of possession, pretty close, but Buffalo has more yardage, and they have the only score in the game, a field goal by Dan Carpenter.
Carolina looks a little out of sync, if you ask me. You know, they got new offensive coordinator in Mike Shula, but he's been around. I just think that the new types of play calls has this team stumbling a little bit out of the gates here.
From the 40. And Newton is going to go deep to Steve Smith, double covered and overthrown. Leotis McKelvin with help from Jim Leonard.
Cam taking another shot there at Steve Smith. Thrown to him 7 times already today. He's only been able to connect on 2 of those passes. Steve Smith, he's one of those guys that gets a little frustrated when things don't go well. Let's see if they can get back on track in that passing offense.
He's a guy you want to get the ball too early. Get rhythm with him.
Keep him happy, and yeah, your offense usually works a little bit better.
Here's Cam Newton, and the pass is tipped away by McKelvin, intended for Smith. Originally, you know, the plan was to use Smith underneath, but they've gone deep on the play like this.
I think they have an advantage here in this one-on-one matchup with Leotis McKelvin, but he is holding his own. You see him, good play, not grabbing onto Steve Smith, reaching over his back and deflecting that ball away.
So it'll be third down and 10, and Cam Newton is 0 for 5 here in this second quarter. Smith and McKelvin matched up. Newton gets time here, and the pass is caught by Smith, and a first down crossing midfield. So they finally get it, and look how delighted Steve Smith is with that catch. You were right on him.
You see this ISO here. Steve Smith, Leotis McKelvin, little 10-yard out curl, catches it. And what Steve Smith does better than any other receiver, if you ask me, is get the tough extra yards. He finds a way to outwork you. That's what he's done his whole career, and he's still doing it at age 34.
And he's still going to him until he gets it.
Exactly. Make that 9 targets now, right?
Right. 11-yard pickup. D'Angelo Williams off to a slow start, and still Williams with 12 yards on 6 rushes, and the longest run that D'Angelo Williams had has been 8.
Last week against Seattle, Cam Newton had problems finding other receivers, but he knows the two guys that he can count on are tight end Greg Olsen and wide receiver Steve Smith. So I don't have a problem with them force feeding it when they're struggling. And right now, this offense is struggling to move. They should continue to find ways to get his playmakers the ball.
Second down and 10 at the 49 of Buffalo. And here is Cam Newton, and he's going deep down the sideline. Skinn is covered by Justin Rogers. Incomplete. Are you surprised that Carolina is not running the ball, which is their best way of moving the ball?
I think they think they have an advantage with this young secondary, guys that haven't played a lot of football. You see Rogers beaten by a step there by Ted Ginn Jr. But again, Cam Newton with an overthrow. He hasn't hit any of these deep balls in stride yet. Kind of a lackluster effort there by Ginn, but still, they haven't been able to connect on this deep ball, and it's hampering their passing offense right now.
Well, this is a passing down for sure. Third down and 10. 8 runs and 19 passes, and the Panthers call a timeout. So it's more than a 2-to-1 ratio, throwing then running. We'll be right back.
This graphic here, Dick, last season this team had 5 big plays a game. Last week they had 1. I think they're making a concerted effort. Coach Ron Rivera mentioned it. They were going to take some shots. They've taken a lot early, but haven't been able to connect on any of them.
Cam Newton is 7 of 17, only 79 yards considering all the attempts, and has been intercepted once. And now it'll be third down and 10 at the Bills 49. And the Bills fans, and they are loyal indeed, despite their fortunes on their feet.
Greg Olsen at the top, Steve Smith at the bottom.
Third down and 10.
Pretty assured that he'll be looking for one of those two guys on this pass play here.
Pressure on Cam Newton, and he gets hit. And Cam Newton and Mario Williams getting to him. And that is the 3rd sack of the game by Mario Williams. 3 in the first half. And the Bills came up the middle strong.
I mentioned that Steve Smith is into these digs. That's exactly where he's looking. He actually has Leotis McKelvin beat on his inside break, but the pressure up front, he can't even get the ball away. That would have been a first down. Instead, it's a sack for the Buffalo Bills' Mario Williams.
Brad Nordman will be kicking. Bills doing a terrific job on third down defensively today. Leotis McKelvin back deep on 4th and 17. Just barely got it away. The fair catch called for by McKelvin at the 16. Well, last Wednesday, Americans tuned into The Ultimate Fighter in record numbers as the Ronda Rousey-Miesha Tate rivalry produced a shocking finish. And if you thought last week was intense, wait until you see the explosive turn the Rousey-Tate battle takes this week. So don't miss an all-new episode of The Ultimate Fighter Wednesday on Fox Sports 1.
Defensive end Mario Williams having a day today against the Carolina Panthers.
And E.J. Manuel escapes trouble. He was about to be sacked, and this pass is going to be caught. Let's see if he had both feet in bounds, and they check with the official, Robert Woods, the intended receiver. And it'll be a 19, let's see if they check that, 19 yards. 19-yard gain as Thomas Davis missed the tackle. See if we have a challenge here.
A lot of the players on that Carolina sideline were telling him to throw the flag. Now, if a receiver gets on that sideline and steps out of bounds, he cannot be the first person to touch it. It will be illegal touching.
Challenging the ruling on the field of a completed catch. The receiver, he said, stepped out of bounds and was first to touch the ball.
So that's exactly, Rondi, what you said is the issue here. And Robert Woods, did he step out of bounds and then come in and touch the ball first? So our first challenge of the game by Ron Rivera of the Panthers.
See Robert Woods working out of the slot in there, going down the sideline on that wheel route, wheeling up behind the defense. Nobody covers him initially until Captain Motherland comes back in. I can't tell if he stepped out of bounds. It wasn't very blatant, but a lot of the Carolina Panthers obviously thought that he did. See here on the all-22 pick, E.J. Manuel creating some time with his feet. Coming back downhill is Robert Woods. And we can't see, maybe they're on the 39-yard line, but usually when they do, that back judge back there throws his hat on the ground so you know that he stepped out of bounds. If he didn't see it, it's a good chance that this is a completed ball.
And if he did step on the line, it had to be by the thinnest of margins.
Yeah, it's hard for us to see even on the replay. They'll get the same pictures that we get. I don't know if there's enough conclusive evidence to overturn this play.
All right, we have Mike Pereira in our studios in Los Angeles. What do you see, Mike?
Hey, Dick, I don't see anything that can prove that he did step out of bounds. And remember, they ruled that he did not. And so I think they have to stay with the call on this. It is reviewable, by the way, because if he did step out of bounds, it would be an illegal touch as soon as he touched the ball, which would be a 5-yard penalty. But again, I see nothing that would lead to an overturn here.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. And, of course, a good call to challenge because it was a 19-yard gain.
Robert Woods right here. And only a chance that happened. It only happened as he comes back down, checking his foot down on the 39-yard line or so. I don't know. I can't see it. I don't think, Dick, I think he's still in bounds. I think that's a completed ball.
And, you know, the interesting thing is I was looking at the sideline. I did not see a quick reaction by the Panther players even then. So will Doug Marone's team get a 19-yard gain and Ron Rivera lose a timeout in his first challenge?
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Carolina will be charged with their first team timeout.
And I think Mike really had it right as you did, Rondé, and the fact is that it wasn't apparent that he had stepped out of bounds. So the call will stand and a 19-yard completion to Woods. Second catch of the game for the rookie from Southern Cal.
They got big hopes for this kid.
And a timeout charge to Carolina. They have one left with 4:42 remaining in the first half. First down on the 36 for the Bills. Manuel stays cool and going deep, and the pass is tipped by Captain Munnerlyn, incomplete. They wanted to go to T.J. Graham downfield.
It's the first time we've seen E.J. take a shot down the sideline. Captain Munnerlyn bailing at the line of scrimmage, out and up by T.J. Graham. He had him beat. Ball was a little underthrown. He's able to get his hands on, deflected away. Should have been an interception. You get paid a lot of money, you catch those balls, Dick.
Easy for you to say. How many times we said that about you? And there's Stevie Johnson with the catch. And they're going to mark it shy of the first down. DJ Moore on the coverage. One official has him short of the first down, and both actually do. So the hurry-up offense by the Bills. Fred Jackson replaces Spiller in the backfield, 3rd and 1. And here is Jackson, first down, Buffalo, near midfield. Pickup of 3.
You know what, Dick, this is the first time that we've seen this hurry-up type of offense, this on-the-line-of-scrimmage offense. They really do move pretty quick now. Plays are getting snapped at about 25 seconds, 24 seconds on the play clock.
And here is Jackson, and that was the read option, Buffalo style, and Jackson picks up 3 more. Only scoring in the game, a 55-yard field goal by Dan Carpenter here in the second quarter. Early, he had missed the 42-yarder. C.J. Spiller back in there and getting the call, and Spiller picking up a couple of yards.
Yeah, like I said, they're only using about half of the play clock. Calls coming in right from the sideline or right from Nate Hackett up here in the box. E.J. Manuel showing a lot of poise for a rookie, being able to run this offense so effectively.
And right now the offense is no huddle. 3rd down and 5. Manuel quickly gets rid of it to Chandler, and he'll be hit immediately by Munnerlyn, shy of a first down by 3 yards.
Just like last week, this team has to start converting on 3rd down. You see Scott Chandler there quick out to the flat. Cap Motherland, they're in cover 2, so he's just sitting out in the flat. Easy tackle. They get off on Carolina gets off on 3rd down.
Ted Ginn Jr. back. Sean Powell will be punting, so both teams getting the job done on 3rd down defensively. And a chance for Powell to try to pin the Panthers inside the 20 and a fair catch at the 10. Halftime is coming up, and for what we've got on tap, let's bring in Kurt Menefee.
So we'll get you caught up on all the early games. Miami, San Diego, and Cleveland thinking upsets early. And the Titans in Texas, and a tight one in Houston. All that and more coming up on the Visa Halftime. We'll see you then.
So Kurt takes his seat with the other guys, anxious to hear what they say. Manuel is 10 of 15 for 102 yards. Didn't throw for a lot of yards last week, but the Bills have the slimmest of margin advantage as Newton comes back out.
Hasn't thrown for a lot of yards, E.J. Manuel, but he has been very efficient. 10 of 15, 102 yards. Can't say the same for Cam Newton. 7 for 17, 79 yards with an interception. They need to get a drive going here.
Here's D'Angelo Williams. Hasn't been able to break one today. And Williams moving out, and it'll be a 1st down. Searcy making the tackle, so Williams, who had gained 12 yards before that play, gets 10 on that one.
I just think that that's one way they can do it.
Well, it hasn't been an easy day for Cam Newton. 7 of 17, missing downfield and getting hit as well. 3-0 game, however. 2-minute warning here at Ralph Wilson Stadium in Buffalo. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Panthers ball on the 20. They only have 1 timeout remaining. Cam Newton looking left, throwing left, and completing the pass for the 1st down to Steve Smith. Getting into rhythm more with Smith, picking up 13 there.
He's targeted him 10 times, Dick. I'm telling you, he has a comfort level in this tight end. He has a comfort level in their 34-year-old receiver who continues to make plays for this team. He has to keep finding them because everybody else he can't get on target with right now.
1st down. Newton's pass and caught by Ted Ginn for the 1st down, just shy of midfield. By the way, the Buffalo Bills are wearing their throwback uniforms from 1964 when they won the AFL championship, the American Football League. That was before the merger. And there's a little charm to those old uniforms.
You were around to see those, Jake.
And before that as well. But that's another story.
Yes.
1st down at the 47. Swing pass to Mike Tolbert. And the Bills hold Tolbert to a gain of 1, if that much. Kiko Alonso, who had the interception on the only turnover of the game earlier, makes the top.
Kiko Alonso is one of those guys, you watch him on film, he reminds you a little bit of that guy on the other sideline, Carolina's Luke Kuechly. Play sideline to sideline, tackling machine. I think they wish they're hoping they can get out of him what Carolina got out of their rookie last year.
2nd and 10 from the 47. And here's Cam Newton's pass, trying to go to Olsen, who claimed he was pushed, and a flag goes down. So Olsen claiming he was interfered with, and a penalty marker down in the secondary.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 25, defense.
Well, it didn't go
penalty, automatic 1st down.
that way, but Nara Searcy, who actually held Olsen before he got free on the pass incomplete.
Yeah, Denora Searcy is claiming that Greg Olsen pushed off on him. You see the matchup right here, man-to-man. Greg Olsen running away from him, grabs onto his arm right there. It's kind of a ticky-tack penalty. I don't know if I would have called that. But he saw it as a hold. It impeded his ability to make the catch.
Searcy might have held Olsen just as he got off the line. In any event, it's a 1st down. And this pass is caught by Olsen again. Well, it's time for a game break after that 5-yard pickup. And here's Joel Klatt. Joel.
Thank you, Dick. Let's make Rondé Barber very happy with some defensive back play. Tim Jennings, 9 interceptions last year, led the NFL. This is his first this season, and it goes all the way back to the house. 21-14 Chicago. Rondé. Tim Jennings doing work.
New coach, same results down there or up there in Chicago.
2nd down and 5 with 1:14 remaining in the half. 1 timeout left for Carolina in a 3-0 game, and this pass is caught, and running after it is the fullback Mike Tolbert. So they get Tolbert in stride, and a big gain of 18 for the Panthers. They're on the 25, 1st down with under a minute remaining.
This replay coming right at us. Tolbert comes through the line. Jerry Hughes has a man-to-man, but he just runs away from him.
And pass is caught by Ginn. Did not get out of bounds. The clock continues to run. Rodgers on the coverage after an 8-yard pickup. Panthers are in field goal range, looking to see if they can get a touchdown before halftime. And here is Tolbert, who barrels his way inside the 15 with 23 seconds to go and a timeout called by the Panthers. It is their 3rd and final timeout of the half. Well, coming up, it's the Visa halftime report. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy will be along with scores and highlights. Well, they got the ball on the 13, Rondé, and Tolbert been a workhorse here in this drive, and they got the ball just inside the 50.
Tolbert's been a workhorse. Cam Newton's making some better decisions, getting the ball out of his hands a little bit quicker, finding the open guy. They're been able to move the ball down the field.
What do you foresee in this situation with Newton in a short field?
A short field, you got 23 seconds left. Now he might take a shot to the end zone. They have time. Gonna come out here. 3 receivers on the right side of the formation down here. Greg Olsen, Steve Smith, and Ted Ginn.
Yeah, they got Smith right behind Ginn on the right side. Could prove troublesome for the Bills secondary. Cam Newton was looking that way, and his pass is thrown out of the end zone. So Ginn was the intended receiver and covered by Aaron Williams. Now 18 seconds remain. It'll be 2nd down.
I think Cam is kicking himself a little bit right there. He had Ted Ginn wide open right out of his break. Held on to the ball and then had to throw it out of bounds.
Ginn has caught 2 passes. Olsen and Steve Smith, each with 4, lead the Panthers. 2nd and 10 at the 13. And there's the pass into the end zone, and it's caught for the touchdown. Greg Olsen. Become old reliable for this Carolina team, and the tight end, and a great pickup for several years. Former Chicago Bear catches the 13-yard pass and giving the Panthers the lead.
Cam Newton looking for his favorite target. Targeted most last week, targeted the most so far this week. Greg Olsen makes a juggling catch there, but it is a touchdown for the Carolina Panthers.
So finally, Cam Newton gets it done. And Graham Gano is on for the extra point. With 13 seconds remaining and a pretty good drive for the Panthers, who had only 1 timeout left. They went 90 yards on 10 plays, and it's now 7-3 Panthers. And Olsen with 5 catches in this game, as many as he had last week.
Yeah, Greg Olsen, we said he was a comfort blanket for Cam Newton. You see Greg Olsen right here. Buffalo showing blitz, bounces back into zone. He just works in behind the linebackers in front of the secondary, right over the goal line. Nice throw by Cam Newton. Touchdown. He's fired up after that.
Olsen's first touchdown catch of the year. That was the scoring drive again, and they did it in just under 2 minutes. And Newton on the drive, 7 of 8 for 71 yards. And I think hitting those first 2 passes were key to him getting rhythm.
I think getting the ball out of his hand a little bit quicker helped him out. You know, earlier in the game, Cam had all these play action, these deeper developing routes, and he missed on almost all of them. 7 for 8 on that drive. A lot of quick throws. The urgency of 2 minutes made him a little bit more efficient, and they got down the field and scored a touchdown.
And as you've seen so many times, it's the adjustments you make. You could be in a so-called slump for a while, and then finally you get on the same page. Kickoff by Graham Gano, and down there by the Bills, Marcus Easley, and E.J. Manuel with 13 seconds left. So the field goal stood up until that 90-yard drive by the Panthers, capped with Cam Newton's 13-yard touchdown pass to Greg Olsen.
Buffalo defense have been playing well up until that point. They got a little bit of pressure in the 2 minute. Mario Williams has 3 sacks on the night, but on the day didn't get any pressure on that last drive.
And we'll take a knee, and that'll do it. So Mario Williams had 3 sacks. Tight game throughout. Close game. And it's halftime with our score, Panthers 7, Bills 3. And right now we're going to send it to Kurt Menefee in our Los Angeles studios, and the Visa halftime report, which starts now. And welcome back to Buffalo, where the Panthers in a defensive struggle, leading the Buffalo Bills 7-3, getting set for the start of the third quarter. This is a big weekend because it's alumni weekend and the Wall of Fame. A lot of the great people that wore the uniforms of the Buffalo Bills, including Andre Reed, the brilliant wide receiver, Jim Kelly, who lives here, the quarterback, and Thurman Thomas. This team went to the Super Bowl 4 straight years.
They are one impressive group down there.
Enjoy the second half.
Loved watching those Bills teams back in the day now.
They were really good, and they didn't win the Super Bowl, but to get there 4 years in a row is special. Let's talk about our game here, which has been a defensive game. Carolina scoring just before the end of the half. What do you foresee in the second half?
Well, you know, Coach Ron Rivera talked a lot about controlling the time of possession. So expect Carolina to get away a little bit from the passing game, rely on D'Angelo Williams a little bit more. I think Buffalo is going to stick to what they do, this no huddle, try to get E.J. Manuel some easy throws, some easy completions, and see if C.J. Spiller can get some more explosive gains for this offense.
And we want to remind you to follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. Marcus Easley is back, and Graham Gano will kick off as we start the second half of this 7-3 game. And the question is, will we see a contrast to the kind of game we saw in the first half? And the Bills will take it out at the 20 for a report on what the coaches had to say. Here's Chris Button.
Hey, Ron, you're exactly right. Both coaches say they're going to stick to their game plan. As for Ron Rivera, despite they have not been able to connect on the long ball, they're still going to take some shots. The Bills, meanwhile, they just need to keep moving the ball once they get past midfield. One other note, Panthers linebacker Josh Thomas out for the rest of the game with a concussion, guys.
All right, thank you very much, Chris. And Doug Marrone's Bills will start from the 20-yard line. And going to the air, and this pass is caught by Summers. And Frank Summers out of bounds by Beasley as we look at the first half statistics.
Take a look at these statistics. Only 34 rushing yards for Carolina. I think they're going to find some more balance there. Buffalo has been pretty even. The one turnover, Carolina going in for a score, definitely hurt that team in the first half.
C.J. Spiller, nothing doing, thanks to Luke Kuechly. Loss of 3.
It's the last play, the first play of the second half. Watch Captain Munnell in here. Cheap shot on Stevie Johnson. I don't know if that was called for or not, but trying to set the tone, I guess.
Manuel pass caught by Woods, first down and put down, trying to get some extra yardage, but Robert Woods, the second-round pick from USC, getting 14 near midfield. Woods has caught 3 passes thus far. Well, that was a cheap shot if there ever was one, but the officials weren't there to see it.
That was Robert Woods lined up on Josh Thomas's replacement, Josh Norman. Now, Josh Norman had a great preseason, pushed into action today because of the concussion.
Play action, first down, plenty of time, and catch is made again by Woods, spinning away, and Woods getting inside the 25. And so Doug Marrone opening it up, and 28 yards, 2 big passes here.
The ISO coverage here. Robert Woods on Josh Norman, nowhere near on this dig route. Safety Godfrey comes down on a bad angle, missed the tackle. Another big yardage play for E.J. Manuel and his fellow rookie, Robert Woods.
Manuel now 13 of 18 for 160. Bills threatening, and the swing pass is to C.J. Spiller. And Spiller is knocked out of bounds at the 21 by Josh Norman after picking up a couple.
E.J. Manuel seems to have a wonderful understanding of where his running back is when the plays aren't developing down the field. We see those stats there for Robert Woods. But I've noticed all day today, when he doesn't see what he wants down the field, he is very quick to get the ball out to his check down, which is usually been the running back.
2nd down and 7, and here is Manuel taking off and running for the first time in the game and gets inside the 20. Very impressed were we with E.J. Manuel in meeting him for the first time yesterday.
Really, really impressive. The kid has something about him, just a calmness about him that you don't usually see out of rookie players, especially a quarterback.
Charles Johnson is shaken up, and he is a huge part of this Carolina defense. We'll be back.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Chevrolet. Check out the all-new Chevy Silverado at the Silverado vs. All event. By Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV.
Back here, Charles Johnson, who has led Carolina in sacks each of the last 4 years. On the sidelines, replaced by Frank Alexander, 3rd down and 4. And Stevie Johnson has the first down outside the 10-yard line, picking up 7.
Looks like Josh Norman down on the field, injured. Carolina without their starting quarterback, Josh Thomas, already.
So now Thomas was out, now Norman, and I tell you what, a few of the Panthers were over there to see how he was. And so we're going to take a break here as Josh Norman, the replacement, shaken up. Just being helped up now is Josh Norman after suffering the injury. And we talked about how the Bills secondary was depleted when we started. Now the Panthers are.
Yeah, you see Josh Norman is a recipient of some friendly fire. You see Thomas coming in there trying to make this tackle. Catches his teammate instead. It's walking off the field, so hopefully it's not that bad. They have some issues now if he's unable to go. DJ Moore played in Chicago the past couple of years, is coming into the game. But if they have to go to a sub package, bring in an extra corner, they don't have anybody. Perhaps, Dick, they bring in one of these safeties, Quentin Michael. Colin Jones is also active today. That could be an issue. We'll have to pay attention to that going forward.
Meanwhile, Charles Johnson is back in the game, and so that's an uplifting development for the Panthers. It'll be a first down on the 11-yard line. And C.J. Spiller trapped. And E.J. Manuel trying to put on a block there, and down he goes, will lose 8 yards. Kuechly will get to him. So a good defensive play by Carolina and an 8-yard loss.
It's an example of one of the things that frustrates a lot of Bills about C.J. Spiller, trying to do too much when just taking nothing would have been a better option.
All right, here's Manuel trying to go the slant route to Woods, and a flag is down. DJ Moore, who has been playing the nickel and now forced to start with Thomas and Norman out of there. So the penalty flag thrown at the 15.
Pass interference, number 10, offense. The penalties decline.
But it'll go
3rd
against
down.
the offensive player, Robert Woods.
DJ Moore came from that Chicago defense. He's seen a lot of slants. that secondary there made a lot of plays on the ball. He's looking at E.J. Manuel the whole time, read the slant, jumped it. All Robert Woods could do was interfere with him, so it wasn't an interception the other way.
Behind the penalty, it'll be 3rd down, and the pass is thrown underneath to T.J. Graham. Flag is down again, and another penalty marker goes down as Graham is stopped at the 12-yard line. 2 penalty flags thrown.
I think they all saw the same thing there, Dick. That's likely going to be a face mask against Carolina and produce a 1st down for the Buffalo Bills.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask.
That's it.
Defense, back to the goal. 1st down.
Half the distance and a 1st down for the Bills.
You see him dump this ball. See E.J. dump this ball off to T.J. Graham. Beeson, who was beat on the quick move. Little careless, grabs a face mask. Automatic 1st down. Actually, bad call. He didn't grab his face mask. He just had the inside of his shoulder pads, maybe his ear hole on his helmet.
So it'll be 1st and goal at the 6 for the Bills. And here is Spiller driving toward the goal line and pushed back by Carolina. John Beeson, by the way, with micro-fractured knee surgery last October, and they're being cautious with him. It's the first time we mention his name in this game. 4-yard gain for Spiller there. And that was the first penalty of the game against the Panthers, and it proved to be costly. Here's E.J. Manuel's fade pattern, and the pass is incomplete. And it was Charles Godfrey battling Stevie Johnson for the ball at the corner of the end zone.
How about this matchup? You get Stevie Johnson. Get Stevie Johnson on Godfrey here. Little rub route, receiver underneath, trying to create some room for Stevie Johnson in the back of the end zone. And Godfrey does a good job fighting through that, making a good play on the ball.
And Godfrey is injured now. He is sitting down in the end zone. And he points to his right foot or right toe. It'll be 3rd down and goal coming up for the Bills from the 2, and we'll take another break. Well, there's Godfrey, who's on the cart leaving, and there's Josh Norman on the left, who was shaken up before.
You see head trainer Ryan Vermillion and assistant Mark Szymanski got their work cut out for him. You see Godfrey make a play on this ball, comes down, and you watch, he doesn't notice the injury until he starts to walk, and something's not right. He sits down. I'm not sure what it is. I can't speculate, but it's definitely in the lower leg.
You know, some of the fans here have been yelling for you to come out of the press box, come out of the booth, because both of these teams could use your services, Mr. B.
I'm not in shape to do this, but Carolina, with Josh Norman on the sideline injured, Godfrey going to the locker room now on the cart. They really have an issue in the secondary right now.
And don't forget Josh Thomas earlier in the game. DJ Moore has taken over at cornerback, teamed with Captain Munnerlyn. So it's Mike Mitchell and Quentin Michael, the 2 safeties right now. 3rd down and goal. Ball at the 2. Bills trying to get a touchdown and regain the lead. Here's E.J. Manuel. Manuel with a fade to Chandler. And incomplete. Tough pass to make from the 2-yard line like that. And defense by Captain Munnerlyn. So we want to remind you here, as 4th down comes up, never be without football. Get coverage of every NFL game on NFL Mobile. Call ** NFL to download it now. So Carpenter is on. Will attempt a 20-yard field goal. Kicked a 55-yarder earlier. So the Bills could not get the touchdown, and the field goal is good. And now the Bills have climbed to within 1. Early here in the 3rd, it's a 1-point Panther lead. There's the scoring drive for the Bills with the field goal by Carpenter, but they had 1st and goal at the 6. And a couple of defensive backs for the Panthers went down. We'll get a report momentarily from Chris Button. Ted Ginn is back, and Carpenter will kick off. 7-6 the score. Still early here in this third quarter. And not running it out is Armin Smith, who was at the 2-yard line. And a good thing for him, he didn't get a foot or the ball outside the goal line. Otherwise, it would have been a safety very close to that. And so the Panthers will start from the 20.
I think that's the right call, but it's important to notice here that if the ball comes out of the end zone, it is deemed to be in play.
His foot may have been on the line.
His foot is on the line, but the ball doesn't come out of the end zone. So they correctly called this a touchback.
Yeah, the crowd is yelling because they saw those that did see it, the foot touched the line. But the ball has to be over the goal line. Close call for Armin Smith. The entire ball must come out. So it'll be a first down for the Panthers at the 20. Newton 14 of 25. D'Angelo Williams picking up a couple, and Manny Lawson makes the tackle. And for the injury reports, let's go down to Chris.
Hey, some updates on this Panthers secondary. Charles Godfrey is out for the game with an ankle injury. As for Josh Norman, he's still on the sidelines. He's questionable with a thigh, but you can tell by the look on his face he's in a lot of pain, guys. All
right, thank you very much, Chris. So game started with the Bills having problems with the secondary. Now the Panthers depleted. 2nd down and 8. 3 wide receivers for Cam Newton. And Newton's pass is caught by Smith, but short of the first down by a couple of yards. And a flag is down. And the conference, there's a safety that was similar to what we almost saw in the Tennessee game.
Interference, number 21, defense. Ball will be placed in the spot of the foul. First down.
So McKelvin commits a defensive penalty on Steve Smith, and it'll be a first down.
Yeah, last week against Tennessee-Pittsburgh, the opening kick, Darius Renault did that same thing. Came out, went back in, was a safety. One of 3 safeties last week in the NFL.
Very unusual.
Yeah, very, very
But
unusual.
the ball did come out,
yes.
And that was the difference. First down at the 31 now for Newton. Pump fake, and Cam Newton's pass, and it's incomplete. Intended for Steve Smith. And that'll bring up 2nd down. A little more than 5 minutes elapsed here in the second quarter. Dick Stockton, along with Rondé Barber and Chris Button here at Orchard Park. The Panthers leading the Bills 7-6.
You know what, Dick? Mario Williams had 3 sacks in that first half. He's starting to get a little bit of double teams over here down on the right offensive side of the ball.
And on the read option, D'Angelo Williams picks up just a couple of yards up the middle. 3 to be exact.
You see Carolina have changed their tune a little bit here. They were huddling up every play before in the first half. Now, adapting that at the line of scrimmage mentality, calling the plays straight from the sideline.
3rd down and 7. Pressure on Cam Newton, and Newton is going to be down back at the 21, and it's Mario Williams. So despite the attention the Panthers have given him, Mario Williams has his 4th sack of the game.
There he is again, Dick. Mario Williams was a terror in the first half. You see him down here. One-on-one, though, on the tackle. Dips underneath him, rips. Wrestles big Cam Newton down to the ground for his 4th sack of the day.
And that ties a team record. So it's 4th down, and Brad Nortman will be punting, and Robert Woods is back deep. So they got the speedy receiver Woods, who calls for the fair catch at the 23. And so the Bills, down by 1, will take over. Well, next week on Fox NFL Sunday, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers head to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. The Rams travel to Dallas to face the Cowboys. Or these Panthers return home to host Eli Manning and the Giants, or other regional action. It all starts with the Fox NFL Kickoff Show at 11 a.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1, followed by Fox NFL Sunday at noon Eastern on Fox. And a penalty flag apparently was thrown. Here's Walt Coleman talking to the umpire.
Holding number 38 of the defense prior to the kick. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
And a big break for the Carolina Panthers. They get a first down, and let's get that offense back on the field. So Ron Rivera's Panthers get the first down, and a tough penalty for Doug Marone's Bills right here when seemingly they had the ball.
Yeah, we're going to have to take a look at this penalty. I'm not certain how this is a first down for Carolina. Before the kick, front right of your screen here, kind of lays on, jumps on him. A lot of very smart penalties.
He knocked his helmet off in the process. So it'll be first down. By the way, Mario Williams, 3.5 sacks, had to share that last one. So it's a first down. And here's D'Angelo Williams with a big hole up the middle and tripped up. Otherwise, he might have been off all the way. Aaron Williams tripped him up, but not before a 21-yard pickup, the biggest of the game for Williams.
Coming right at you at the replay here. D'Angelo Williams, kind of the scissors play. My brother made that play famous in New York. Running through a gap, exploding through the seam. One tackle. Aaron Williams, and that was a home run touchdown for Carolina.
So Tiki doesn't have to text you that he made that famous. You beat him to it. First down with nearly 8 minutes to go in the third, and the pass thrown out to Brandon LaFell, and he is knocked out of bounds. And Nickel Roby, the undrafted corner from USC who played so well last week, smallest player on the team at 5'7".
Watch this block out here by Steve Smith. Not involved in the catch. Just a little screen to LaFell's. Let him get active. Distract Leotis McKelvin enough. Allows Brandon LaFell's to get that close to first down yardage there.
Needs one here. Second down and 1 at the 41 of the Bills. And in the backfield, they hand it off to Mike Tolbert. And Tolbert's second effort should be enough for the first down, and it is inside the 40-yard line.
Interesting there. They motion LaFell back into the backfield, giving Cam Newton another option. You talk about the read option. That's only when there's one back in the backfield. You throw another guy in there, and that's your old school triple option. You can fake the handoff or give the handoff, or quarterback can boot out and have a guy to pitch to on the other side of the formation as well.
I'll tell you, Cam Newton playing with a lot more confidence now after his early troubles.
Yeah, they speeded up the tempo of their offense at the end of the half, and it's translated into the second half now.
First down and plenty of time, and going deep into the end zone, and the pass caught by Ginn for the touchdown.
Ted Ginn running by Justin Rogers for the touchdown. He's been by him about 3 times today. They finally connect.
And this is something that the Panthers had told us they wanted to go vertical, and they did big time for the 40-yard touchdown pass.
Well, this guy, Ted Ginn, has rare speed. You see the out and the up. Rogers with his eyes in the backfield doesn't see Ted Ginn go by him. Cam Newton with that strong arm makes a direct throw. Touchdown for Carolina.
And it's now 13-6, 40-yard touchdown reception. And Graham Gano with the extra point. And for the Buffalo Bills, now trailing by a score of 14-6, but that holding penalty on the punt changed things around dramatically, and Carolina made it pay off. So Ted Ginn with the 40-yard catch, the longest play of the season for the Panthers in here in the second game. And Frank Summers on the right.
Yeah, here's a shot of it. You see Ted Ginn at the top of your screen here. One-on-one with Rogers. They're in a 3-deep zone. You see McKelvin down here with Steve Smith. Safety cheats to the middle, and Ted Ginn goes right by him. Two of our burning questions at the beginning of the game were which team was going to get vertical, and we thought Ted Ginn would show up in special teams, but we're seeing him here on offense have a huge, huge day. 20.7 yards per catch now after that touchdown.
80 plays, 80 yards, and the defensive holding by Summers on the punt. So instead of the Bills getting the ball down 7-6, an 80-yard drive with a big play. Under 7 minutes to go, easily we'll see it sail out of the end zone. Well, tonight on Fox Sports Live, join Jay Onright and Dan O'Toole as they recap all of today's action from the gridiron and the rest of the sports world. Don't miss Fox Sports Live tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1. And if you haven't seen this duo, watch them. They give you all you need to know, and they're entertainment to boot, and they're really funny. Well, back is Josh Norman, one of the injured Panthers, who's back in at cornerback. First down from the 20 for Manuel, and he gets it out to Scott Chandler, the tight end, and Chandler picks up about 7.
Buffalo had that drive coming out at halftime, looking to match or take away the momentum that Carolina had going into the half, all the way down to the red zone and not being able to score.
Second down and 3. Spiller. First down. Spiller getting it out to the 34-yard line.
I was just going to say it's important for Buffalo right now to match that score. See if they can get this momentum back in their favor before this gets out of hand.
Spiller has gained 49 yards on 13 carries, just under 4 yards a clip. And they're going to go his way again. Missed tackle in the backfield and finally ridden out of bounds. And time for a game break. Let's check in with Joel Klatt.
All right, thank you, Dick. We go to Philadelphia, where Deshaun Jackson is having a day. 7 catches, 158 yards, and this touchdown. 61-yard strike from Michael Vick, and that ball game is tied at 20.
So Michael Vick in action, trying to get the Eagles to 2-0. Here's Stevie Johnson with a completion and gets 9 yards.
Nice sure-handed catch there by Stevie Johnson. Catches it and spins out. Gets about 8 yards on second down, 9 yards on second down. Creates a third, very manageable 3rd and 1 here for the Buffalo Bills. See Josh Norman there.
Stevie Johnson with 3 catches for 38 yards. Here's Spiller. And Spiller, that was Fred Jackson who got the call and got the extra yard for the first down. Needed 1, got 2 yards. Fred Jackson has gained 26 yards. Spiller 48 for the rushing story for the Bills.
2 tough yards there. They needed that first down to keep this drive moving.
Jackson stays in the game. Manuel gets time. It's tipped and it's caught. Running down the field is Stevie Johnson. Johnson with Norman there and will go out of bounds as Mitchell and Norman were there, and Johnson steps out of bounds in a 45-yard play, and now the Bills are in business.
See an explosion of big plays here. You see Stevie Johnson right there matched up on a linebacker. It looks like Beeson goes right underneath him, runs away from the rest of the Panthers secondary until he gets pushed out of bounds down here at the 15-yard line.
Goal for Manuel. And Manuel, flag is down as Manuel goes out of bounds at the 9. .421 remaining in the 3rd. Panthers don't look like they're using a nickel back against 3 wides.
Holding, number 41, of defense. 5-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
And that'll be an automatic 1st and goal now for the Bills.
You mentioned that it didn't. Now, DJ Moore checks into the game. Carolina, some losses in the secondary, probably trying to stay base defense to stop some of that running game. But when you got 3 wide receivers out there, it behooves them to get another DB on the field.
So they're going to place the ball at the 4. Bills They've only had 2 field goals today, looking for their first touchdown. First and goal at the 4, and here's Jackson. And Jackson is in for the touchdown.
That touchdown certainly excited this Buffalo Bills crowd.
Now they're going to go for 2 with a score of 14-12.
E.J. Manuel hands off on the dive, gets behind his pads, tumbles over Edwards and Kuechly into the end zone for a touchdown.
What about going for 2 when you have so much time remaining in the 4th quarter and you got 4 minutes here? It's not like this is going to be the last score you're going to have today.
You know, I think some coaches look at the sheet. I don't think Doug Marrone is. I think he's got a feeling they could tie this game up, get it right back on track with a 2-point conversion here.
So here it comes, trying to tie the score. Manuel's pass, and it's caught by Woods for the conversion. And we're all tied at 14. So this is the best the Bills offense has looked all day. And it came after an unfortunate penalty and a long touchdown pass by Carolina to Ginn. And E.J. Manuel brings him down to tie it up and getting that 2-point conversion right here.
They leave the end free. E.J. Manuel right through him, and good throw, but a great catch by the rookie Robert Woods here, diving, twisting, making sure ball doesn't hit the ground. Unbelievable 2-point conversion there.
You get a feeling that Mr. Woods is going to figure big time in the future of this club offensively?
I have a feeling that, yes, this E.J. Manuel, Robert Woods connection is going to be a big one for these Buffalo Bills. Added Stevie Johnson and Chandler, T.J. Graham. They have so many options on this side of the ball, but that one is really good, going to be exciting.
E.J. Manuel, who threw 2 touchdown passes last week, and a similar scoring drive to what we just saw from the Panthers. 8 plays, 80 yards, and we're tied at 14, and the first touchdown of the game for Buffalo. Smith and Ted Ginn Jr. are back for the kickoff, and it's going to be Ginn running it out, and hit hard and slammed down before he reaches the 10 by Marcus Easley.
What a hit there, Dick. It's one way to stop a fast return, man. Yeah. Get him before he gets going. You see him up here at the top of the screen, sprint down. Runs through a block, then runs through the returner. Excellent tackle on special teams.
So the Bills tied it up on Jackson's 4-yard run, the 2-point conversion, and great coverage by Easley. And now the Panthers start from the 10. This crowd on his feet, going wild here. Cam Newton, how does he respond? He connects on his first pass to Ginn, and it's close to a first down, and it is for the Panthers. Steve Smith making the catch and beating McKelvin.
This has been the matchup all day, the featured matchup. You have the best player in the Bills secondary right now. It's Leotis McKelvin, and arguably one of the best receivers in the league in the past 10 years in Steve Smith.
Both teams opening it up here in the second half.
Matchup up top right now.
And a first down. Here's D'Angelo Williams. And Williams will get a yard. Arthur Moats hitting him as he crossed the line. And under 3.5 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Steve Smith, Greg Olsen each with 5 catches today. Olsen 1 for the touchdown. The big play, Ted Ginn, a 40-yard touchdown pass from Newton.
All this energy in this stadium. Mike Pettin needs his defense to rise up. See if they can get a stop here on this Carolina while they're deep down here in Bills territory.
2nd down and 9. The ball at the 21. Brandon LaFell close to the line. Play action. Pressure is on, and here's LaFell. And LaFell hit by Aaron Williams. This is an aggressive Buffalo defense we're seeing here. They are ignited here in Buffalo, and it'll be 3rd down and long coming up for the Panthers.
The long developing screen there. The Buffalo Bills front 7 sniffed it out the whole way. LaFell juggled that ball, caught it, turned around, and had absolutely nowhere to go with this thing. See Cam Newton with the fake to D'Angelo. LaFell's off the block, catches. Nowhere for him to go. 4 or 5 Bills there to make that tackle.
3rd and 12. 6 defensive backs in there for Buffalo. Can't find a target, and this pass is thrown into the Buffalo sideline, and a flag goes down. And now, tempers flare. There is one Panther player right in the midst of the Buffalo sideline. There was obviously a late hit here, which caused the flag. And Steve Smith right in the middle of that pack.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 23, defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, 1st down.
Careless penalty against the Buffalo Bills. One before cost of possession, and it resulted in a Carolina touchdown. Now this.
Dick, huge penalty by Carolina, or by Buffalo here. Clearly out of bounds. Play is over. They're getting off on 3rd down. Just not a smart play by the Bills there, and by Aaron Williams of the Bills.
No
there.
question about it, Barande. And now they're giving the Panthers, again, new life. That's the 7th penalty for 55 yards against Buffalo. And that was a big problem last week, as we saw earlier on our graphic. So a 1st down at the 33. A new life for Carolina. And they overthrow. Armani Edwards does Newton, bringing up 2nd and 10. The penalty story which plagued
last week they had 10 penalties, 75 yards. Flagged a couple more. We said they didn't take it. Today, 7 penalties for 55 yards. A couple of them kept drives alive. The last scoring drive for Carolina was on a penalty on special teams, giving Carolina another opportunity with that penalty there.
And Ronnie, not so much the number of penalties, but the time of the penalties, and it costing them, as you said, key possessions. And the pass almost intercepted. Armani Edwards, the intended receiver, and Nikel Roby nearly picked it off, and he would have gone in easily.
I was talking earlier, you see Roby here in the slot, talking earlier about how Cam's holding on to the ball, making a late throw. Roby, who unbelievably went undrafted after having a great career at USC, just misses out on an interception that would have been a touchdown for the Buffalo Bills.
So Ronnie, now 3rd and 10 once again coming up. Newton going on top to Ginn. Incomplete. And 4th down coming up. No flags here. And it was Justin Rogers on the coverage with Ted Ginn. The ball was overthrown, so 4th down, and the Panthers will punt.
I tell you, if Cam, he's overthrown Ted Ginn about 3 times, which is hard to do because Ted Ginn could outrun just about anybody on this football field, but he's been by Rogers a number of times, just haven't been able to connect today, except for the 1 touchdown.
Nortman kicking to McKelvin. Fair catch at the 16. Well, next Sunday on Fox, if you think you know Mike Tyson, think again. As Being Mike Tyson takes you inside the life of one of the most controversial, enigmatic, and successful sports icons of our time. Being Mike Tyson premieres next Sunday on Fox. Check your local listings.
Tight game in Buffalo, tight. High temperatures rising high. You see the late hit there by Williams.
And a handoff to C.J. Spiller, and Spiller getting close to 9 yards on 1st down. Mike Mitchell making the tackle.
But there's after this hit by Williams, Carolina's lucky to get out of this. You see Steve Smith run right in there, causes a scrum. Be more careful with their emotions at this point in the game.
Second down and one. The ball knocked away from E.J. Manuel. Scrambled for the loose ball. And Carolina, Davis indicating the Panthers have it. It would be huge if they do. It was Quentin Michael who forced it. And the Panthers have recovered. Big turnover by Buffalo. And the Carolina Panthers have it inside the 20 of the Bills.
You see Quentin Michael coming on the right side of your screen. Underneath the block, causes the fumble. About 4 or 5 different guys have an opportunity to fall on this. Carolina eventually does. Huge turnover for the Buffalo Bills here, setting up the Carolina Panthers and just outside the red zone.
Dwan Edwards recovered it, the former Buffalo Bill. And so the fumble here and the turnover, and that's the first mistake that E.J. Manuel has made. Did not make any last week. No sacks, no turnovers. Michael being worked on the sideline, and it'll be a first down on the 16 of the Bills. And here is Cam, check it, it was a direct snap to D'Angelo Williams. And Williams.
Wildcat formation there, Dick. When you put an imposter at quarterback, somebody's not wearing the number, that's the Wildcat. We haven't seen much of that over the past couple of years. Carolina has done it in the past. Mike Shula digging into his bag of tricks for this Carolina offense now.
Easy for you to call D'Angelo Williams an imposter now that you're no longer playing against him.
I don't have to play against him. I don't have to answer to him at all again. That's right. See Mike Shula there, first year's offensive coordinator for these Carolina Panthers. He's been the quarterback coach. He's been around. He was my offensive coordinator in Tampa years ago. He has a bag full of tricks.
Second down and 8. And it's going to be D'Angelo Williams again. And Williams getting close to first down yardage. Outside the 5. And that should be the end of the third quarter. So D'Angelo Williams taking the last couple of snaps. And that will be the end of a wild third quarter here in Buffalo. Our score is tied at 14. Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Start of the fourth quarter, and Carolina threatens. The Bills have been in a tough situation the last 3 times, twice because of penalties, giving Carolina the ball again, and then the turnover as the Panthers, as we start the fourth, have a 3rd and 1, looking to get the first down or touchdown and take the lead.
Saw a lot of that bunch formation last week in their game, creating a 2-by-2 with the motion.
Here's Cam Newton, and Newton trying to get the first down yardage. Let's see if the second effort works, and it does. It'll be 1st and goal inside the 5.
A lot of that motion, a lot of those stacks, just smoke and mirrors for this big quarterback, Cam Newton, to run a power. You see the pulling guard behind the fullback, lowers his pads, uses those 250 pounds, and pushes for a first down.
And Quentin Michael getting carted off. This has been a war of attrition for the secondaries of both teams. Meanwhile, 1st and goal at the 4. And here's Cam Newton, and he's going to be hit, throws it away, and completes it to Brandon LaFell just as he was going down. So he got something, and boy, he was determined to pass that ball, and he got it to the 9-yard line. Pressure by Kiko Alonso, but a loss of 5.
See Kiko Alonso running through. He's got the back and coverage, but when he blocks, he comes in. Cam Newton able to avoid dangerous pass to LaFell. Not many guys get away with making that throw. Cam Newton's such a great athlete. His escapability is amazing. Able to make that completion even though it's a lost yardage play.
Second down and goal, now back at the 9. And a whistle.
First team timeout.
And a timeout called by the Panthers. It's the first timeout for either team in the second half. Another tight one for those Panthers.
On Fox is sponsored by Chrysler, imported from Detroit. By KFC, the official sponsor of Couchgating. KFC plus football equals Couchgating. And by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Second and goal at the 9 after the Panthers call their first timeout. 14-14 the score. Steve Smith lining up to the right. LaFell to the left. D'Angelo Williams, maybe a yard, and Kyle Williams runs right into him. It'll be 3rd and goal.
This Buffalo Bills team is ready for that read option look from Cam Newton. Very rarely has he pulled it and run on that play. Generally, he's tending to hand this thing off to D'Angelo, and they are not falling for the fake anymore. The Wildcat gave him some problems. I'm sure they hadn't prepared for that since last year.
Williams 58 yards and an average of 4 yards per carry. 3rd down and goal. And here's Newton. And this pass for Steve Smith knocked away by Leotis McKelvin. And that'll bring up 4th down, and Kyle Williams once again bringing the pressure on Cam Newton.
The back and forth between Leotis McKelvin, Steve Smith continues. You see the quick out. Leotis there's his foot in the ground, makes a great break and a great play on that out pass from Cam Newton to Steve Smith.
And Graham Gano on to try to give the Panthers the lead. This will be a 27-yard attempt with Nortman, the punter, holding. And the Panthers have taken the 17-14 lead on the 27-yard field goal. So the question is, can Ron Rivera and the Panthers survive? We've got a lot of time left, however, in this 4th. Panthers took advantage of that fumble, and they got 3 out of it to take the lead 17-14. They were up 14-6 in the 3rd quarter, but then a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. There's Dwan Edwards, who recovered the fumble. Quentin Michael, who has been carted off with an ankle injury, questionable as far as his return. There is Marcus Easley back deep for the kickoff with almost an entire quarter remaining. And the Bills will get it out at the 20.
Good job by Mike Pettine's defense there. Tough situation, getting a sudden change by that turnover, holding tight and only giving up a field goal to Carolina, Dick.
So there's E.J. Manuel, who has thrown for 240 yards. As a matter of fact, the Bills have outgained the Panthers total yards by a solid margin, rushing yards and in passing yardage as well. Pass out to Chandler, and right there is Mike Mitchell, the former Raider, who makes the tackle and a gain of only 1.
It's going to be big for Mike Mitchell to step up his game now with 2 safeties out for the Carolina Panthers. They're holding their breath, hoping not for another injury in that secondary.
Going to say Colin Jones is in there as the 5th defensive back, and the pass is intercepted, and it is by Luke Kuechly with the pick. So Kuechly with the interception, giving the Panthers the ball in Buffalo territory. A big break there, and E.J. Manuel with 2 turnovers in the last 2 series.
See Luke Kuechly there, middle linebacker. Talked about before the game, can this young quarterback keep avoiding mistakes? Stares down T.J. Graham. Easy interception for Luke Kuechly. He read him the entire way. Panthers got another turnover going in to score against these Buffalo Bills.
And you know, Rondé, it's going to put huge pressure on this Buffalo defense now with the team trailing by 3. That is the 3rd career interception by Luke Kuechly, who is establishing himself as one of the better middle linebackers in the league by far.
I don't know if there's certainly not a better tackler in the NFL than him.
The previous play will be reviewed.
So no challenge, but they're going to review that last play.
Yeah, you'll see Luke Kuechly come in here, get his hands on the ball. Ball comes to his chest, trying to see if it goes to the ground.
Question is control after he made the interception when he hit the ground. We'll be back.
Today's game is sponsored by the Samsung Galaxy S4. The next big thing is here.
They review all turnovers, and so Luke Kuechly, question is, did he have control on the interception? Let's take another look here.
The
Call was an interception.
A lot of the Buffalo Bills fans here don't think that it is, but if you ask me, Dick, the ball is loose as it's coming down to the ground, but he gets his arm underneath it. It doesn't look like it contacted the turf.
Really on the field stands. An interception.
And of course, you needed undisputable visual evidence to reverse it. And Kuechly, who has 12 tackles plus the interception now, and the Panthers will have a first down at the 26 of Buffalo.
Yeah, it looked to me, Dick, that he got his arm under it. The ball's definitely loose when it hits him in the chest. But as he goes to the ground, he's able to get his arm under it, keeps the ball, the tip of the ball from hitting the ground, and he falls on top of it for an interception. But again, tough break for the Bills, but it was a bad decision by E.J. Manuel.
So first down at the 26 with a 3-point lead, and D'Angelo Williams is tripped up by Kyle Williams and picks up only a yard here with still a lot of time to go, only 3 minutes elapsed. Big day for Luke Kuechly as the Panthers getting Manuel to turn it over twice in a row.
You know what, Dick, we talked in the open about how Carolina over the years has lost a lot of games in this manner. One way that they can close out games is to score on these opportunities. They haven't done it in the past. They missed out on an opportunity on the previous drive. Let's see if they can get in the end zone and get this game under their control.
So make it a close game, not a close game. And here is Cam Newton's pass into the end zone, and one hand on LaFell, and that's all he could do as Justin Rogers was defending. Going for the downs was Cam Newton. And now for a game break, let's check in again with Kurt Menefee.
Well, the Falcons had a 21-0 lead over the Rams, closed down to 24-17 until Jason Sneller took it 11 yards for the score. Atlanta back up comfortably late in the fourth quarter, 31-17. Dick and Rondé.
Well, Atlanta trying to get to 1-1, and the Rams, if they lose, will be 1-1. Meanwhile, third down and 9. Back at the 25.
This seems to be their favorite formation on third down. Saw it a lot when we played against them back in the day. Create some mismatches.
Here is Cam Newton, and Newton is hit, gets away. And Cam Newton on the run completes the pass to Greg Olsen. Talk about escapability. We have seen it on 2 occasions from Cam Newton. Mario Williams very nearly got him. Instead, a 13-yard pass to Olsen.
Mario Williams going by Byron Bell. But Cam Newton, he's so big, he's so athletic, always able to keep plays going if you don't get him wrapped up. Kyle Williams misses him. Greg Olsen becomes uncovered, easy throw and completion for the first down.
And first down at the 12. Here's D'Angelo Williams. And Williams is tripped up by Kiko Alonso, gets a yard.
The Bills defense has been very sound on this read option. I'm telling you, Dick, they're going to have Cam pull this ball and run it. They are not respecting the fake. They're crashing down on the running back. Cam needs to get out of this, or needs to take the ball out of his gut one time and get out to the edge so they can respect his running ability.
He has gained 11 yards, Rondé, on 3 tries. Let's see if they have that in their back pocket. Second down and 9. Here is Williams. And D'Angelo Williams getting to the 7. Met by Arthur Moats, picking up 4.
If I'm Carolina, I'm not trying to settle for 3 points here. It's one of the things I'll continue to harp on. They've lost a lot of games by not being able to convert touchdowns in situations like this. You got a 3rd and 4 here. But I need Carolina to get in the end zone, see if they can avoid some of those late game collapses that they've had over the years under Ron Rivera.
6 of 13 on third down conversions today. And Cam Newton can't find a receiver right now. And he is out of bounds at about the 8. Mario Williams, what a brilliant day he has played with 3.5 sacks for the Bills today. And so the field goal team will come on. And we still have a load of time as we wind down to 9 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. And now Gano will try to add to the Panther lead.
twice that the Carolina Panthers would have an opportunity to score a touchdown here down in their red zone, and twice the Bills defense has stepped up, forced a field goal attempt.
25-yard attempt to try to give Carolina a 6-point lead. And Gano's kick is good. 8:41 on the clock. And the score now, Panthers leading the Bills 20-14. And welcome back to Buffalo, and we've been talking about this all day. Worst records since 2011 in games decided by 7 or fewer. Carolina 2-13. Buffalo not much better at 5-10. And this has been a problem for the Panthers, but it's there for them now if they hold on. They're up by 6 with 8:41 to go.
We mentioned it in the break. The 20 games decided by a possession or less was 6 out of 20. When it's down to 1 score, 7 points or less, it's even worse. And that's exactly the situation that the Panthers find themselves in right now.
Let's go down to Chris.
You know, Doug Marrone said that sometimes when E.J. Manuel makes mistakes, he tends to let his frustrations out and can get pretty fiery. But after those 2 turnovers, he would just go back down to the bench, try to keep those frustrations in check. Seemed pretty calm.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Meanwhile, an update on Mario Williams. Last play was a sack and a 4.5 sacks Bills record now for Williams. Meanwhile, 1st and 10 for the offense. C.J. Spiller with a head of steam. Still stays in bounds, and C.J. Spiller carries it inside the 35 of Carolina for 46 yards. Finally brought down by the linebacker, Thomas Davis.
Now that's the C.J. Spiller that all these Buffalo Bills fans have been waiting for this season. You see the scissors play again. Outrunning the defense. Thomas Davis does a great job hustling to catch him. And that was a 80-yard touchdown for the Buffalo Bills.
103 yards for Spiller today. Fred Jackson, who has scored a touchdown himself on the carry and gets maybe a yard or no gain. Charles Johnson, who is shaken up early, made the play. As we said, Spiller over 100 yards. And that 46-yard gain is the longest gain this year for the Bills. Spiller averaging 6.1, and there's Fred Jackson as a receiver, and nothing there as he gets to the 30-yard line, and it'll be 3rd down and about 6 for the Bills.
Chris mentioned how calm E.J. Manuel looks on the sideline. He looks just as calm directing this drive here for the Buffalo Bills.
And here they run another play, and Manuel's pass and nearly intercepted, nowhere near Jackson, and Davis almost picked one off.
See Thomas Davis right there. E.J. Manuel comes away looking the other way and throws it blind to Fred Jackson. Whew, he got lucky there.
Definitely. Kuechly had the interception moments ago, so they called Dan Carpenter on. He has made a 55-yard field goal. Missed from 42, and this will be from 48. Trying to make it a 3-point game once more. And Dan Carpenter with the low kick is good, just over the crossbar. And the Bills get 3 out of it. And Carpenter with a field goal. And that makes the score 20-17 in favor of the Panthers. 7:13 left in the 4th. Well, next week on Fox NFL Sunday, Rodgers and the Packers go against the Bengals. There's our lineup. Kickoff at 1 p.m. Eastern. And a pregame show will start at noon on Fox NFL Sunday.
Yeah, I'll say.
That's coming up next week on Fox. So the scoring drive, 50 yards on 5 plays.
You know what, Dick? They run that fast break offense, never getting to the line of scrimmage. That was a bad 3rd down attempt right there. You know, you think they don't get in the huddle trying to get the play off so fast. They could have came up with a better play there on 3rd down, but the miscommunication between Fred Jackson and his quarterback, E.J. Manuel, forced that field goal opportunity.
And Spiller, if it weren't for his 46-yard run, they might not even have gotten a 3. And, of course, 103 yards for him. But now, Panthers with a 3-point lead will be getting the ball. Spiller had 46 of the 50 yards in that drive. Ted Ginn, and won't run this one out. So Cam Newton, the 20 of 37, struggled early, came on big, and the Panthers lead.
He got beat up a lot early. Mario Williams, that front of the Buffalo Bills were hunting after him. But as this game has gone on, he's gotten a lot more comfortable. See the touchdown pass to Greg Olsen here. Touchdown pass to Ted Ginn, running by Rodgers. As their tempo sped up, so did Cam Newton's efficiency. 20 for 37 here with 214 yards, and most of that has been in the second half.
Olsen with 6 catches and a touchdown. Smith 5 receptions, and Ted Ginn Jr. with a 40-yard touchdown catch. Here's Newton, and open is Olsen. And Olsen will have the first down. Well-executed play. The tight end was wide open. They get to the 35, picking up 15.
I'm not sure how he ended up so wide open there in the flat, but Greg Olsen is definitely the guy that Cam Newton looks for when things don't work. Greg Olsen on the other side, or coming out of the backfield here, lined up as fullback. Nobody accounts for him in the flat. Cam Newton sees nothing downfield, dumps it off. Easy completion, easy first down to get the chains moving for the Panthers.
7 catches, 85 yards, and the touchdown. First down, here's Tolbert, and Tolbert barrels his way up toward the 40. Alex Carrington making the defensive play, picking up 5. 4.5 sacks, a Buffalo Bills team record for Mario Williams today.
There's been some great D-ends, some great pass rushers here at Buffalo. Mario Williams, who didn't record a sack last week, has 4.5 today. That is very, very impressive, Dick.
2nd and 5. Again, they go to D'Angelo Williams, the running back up the middle. Will bring up 3rd and short. Ran right into Alonso. Gain of 3.
See the Panthers lining up in a more conventional style offense now. Cam Newton under center, running those direct runs, running some powers with their running back. And I think all of that has to do with Coach Ron Rivera's emphasis on ball control. There's 5 minutes and 20 seconds left in this game, and they're trying to whittle away as much clock as they can.
Well, this is a big play. 3rd down and 2. Both teams 6 of 14 on 3rd downs.
Greg Olsen lined up in the backfield back here. Steve Smith to the same side. I bet there's a good chance the ball is going that way.
Flushed out of the pocket, and here's Cam Newton, and he'll run for the first down. You never know when he's going to use his legs to his advantage. He did there and picked up 4 yards and a first down for the Panthers.
See Cam Newton on the replay here, drops back, looking to his right, doesn't see what he likes. Steve Smith is covered up, Greg Olsen's covered up, immediately takes it down. Hartsock gets down the field, makes a good block on Cersei. Cam Newton's able to get the first down, keep the chains moving.
Well, last week, the Seahawks ran out the clock on the Panthers. Panthers trying to do the same to the Bills today. Williams. And Williams finds his way into Bills territory. Time for a game break. Kurt Menefee.
2 touchdown receptions last week. This is his 3rd in the game today. Royal with 5 TD receptions. And they're not even finished with 2 games. More importantly, that one put the Chargers up 30-27 in Philadelphia late. Dick and Rondé.
All right, thank you very much, Kurt. Wild game going on between the Chargers and the Eagles. Meanwhile, here it'll be 2nd down and 5.
Some good games across the league. We have another one here up in Buffalo, Dick.
Bills have outgained the Panthers. They have the lead in the ball and doing a good job of ball control. And here is Williams trying to go wide, and Williams may have enough for the first down. We'll see where they mark it, and it is. Kiko Alonso makes the tackle, and a good finish that time by D'Angelo Williams, who has 80 yards today.
D'Angelo Williams gets the toss here from Cam Newton. You see the block on the edge by Greg Olsen, makes Rodgers miss. Does a smart job here, getting down inbounds, keeping that clock rolling. 3 minutes left here in the fourth quarter.
So Williams, who had 86 rushing, 86 yards last week, has 80 this time. Mike Tolbert is in there now. First down with under 3 minutes to go. 3-point lead. They give it to Tolbert, gets some running room, and Mike Tolbert is stopped, and we'll see where they mark it. Close to the first down. Ran right into Denara Searcy, the free safety. And he'll be short by 1 yard. So Carolina now using ball control to chew up the clock. Bills have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. And there you see they've opened up that ball control margin.
Yeah, good 9-minute difference there for the Carolina Panthers. It's exactly what Coach Ron Rivera talked about to us when we talked to him earlier yesterday.
They have a winning record when they have the edge in time of possession. They're winning here by 3. Winding down to 2 minutes remaining. And Tolbert driving for the first down, and he'll get it as he gets to the 30. And a 2-minute warning coming up. A tight game between 2 young promising quarterbacks. Great young players in this game. The Panthers trying to hold on for the victory, and we'll be right back.
Let's look at our 2 starting quarterbacks. Cam Newton for Carolina, E.J. Manuel. Both have 21 completions. Cam Newton got a deficit there on the yards, but he has the 2 touchdowns. E.J. Manuel with the 2 big mistakes, the 2 turnovers that led to Carolina Panthers field goals that constitutes this lead right now.
First down with 2 minutes to go from the 30. And D'Angelo Williams hit once, breaks a tackle, and finally brought down by Denara Searcy after the miss by Jerry Hughes, and he gets 4 yards out of it. And a timeout called by the Bills, their first timeout. They need to stop the clock, and really what's at stake here for Doug Marrone's team, they've got to try to hold the Panthers to just 3 so they can get the ball back with a chance to win it with a touchdown. A TD here will put the game out.
You're exactly right, Dick. The enemy of the Buffalo Bills now is the clock. 1 minute and 53 seconds. You only got 2 timeouts. So if they can get a stop here, force them to kick the field goal, they'll have an opportunity to go down and win the football game.
Want to remind you, coming up next, it's the State Farm post-game show. And it's 2nd down and 5.
Carolina in their big package here, 2 tight ends, a fullback in the game. Probably going to run the ball out.
And it's Williams. And D'Angelo Williams. Not much there, no gain on the play, so it'll be 3rd down. And now the Bills call another timeout. That's their 2nd. They have 1 remaining.
And Dick, I was going to say, before that play got started, they're going to try to run this clock out, put the big bodies in, eat as much of this clock as they can, and be resigned to this field goal attempt here if they don't convert on 3rd down. Although Ted Ginn's coming in the game, it looks like they're bringing in 3 wide receivers, trying to get 1 more conversion.
So this is a huge down coming up for both teams, because if the Bills can stop them, they get the ball back and a chance, if the field goal is made, to pull it out. But a first down would be huge for Carolina. And as you mentioned, Ted Ginn is in there going out to the left. 3rd down and 5 with 1:48 showing on the clock in the 4th.
Cam Newton has 2 receivers to either side. Gonna run it though.
Here's Tolbert to run, and Tolbert is stopped 1.5 yards shy of the first down. And the Bills will call their 3rd and final timeout. And the Panthers will bring on their field goal team, Graham Gano, to try to raise their lead again to 6.
North Carolina resigned themselves here to kicking this field goal to get up by 6. But because Buffalo had those 3 timeouts, they're giving themselves about at least 1.5 minutes after the kickoff to go down and try to win this football game. We're going to see what E.J. Manuel, see how his maturity, I know he's a young guy, we'll see how the maturity that everybody's talking about him translates in his opportunity to win the game at the end of this half.
And Ronnie, he doesn't have any timeouts left. It's really going to be a problem there. 39-yard attempt for Graham Gano. And this kick, and Gano, very cool, kicks the field goal. And that's his third field goal of the game, and the Panthers will have a 6-point lead with 1:38 to go. No timeouts left for the Bills.
You know, I don't know if the timeouts are as big of a deal as they are with some teams, because Buffalo is in a hurry up or at the line of scrimmage type offense anyway, so they'll just be running their normal things. Obviously, the tempo will be a little bit quicker because they're in 2 minutes, but coordinator Nate Hackett will be up here looking at probably the same play calls that he had all game long.
If you're Carolina, how do you defend in this drive?
Well, obviously you don't want to give up the big chunk yardage plays. Expect a lot of cover two deep safeties, corners playing soft on the outside. It's going to be important for the underneath players for the Carolina Panthers, Kuechly, Thomas, whoever the nickel back is, DJ Moore, I believe, to be sound tacklers in this 2-minute drive, because that's where all the yardage will come from.
Marcus Easley is back deep, and of course, without having a timeout, that really eliminates to a great extent the running plays. And Spiller and his threat on the ground. This kick will go out of the end zone, and so the Bills will start from the 20. E.J. Manuel had a problem, and then he had some turnovers.
Yeah, he had some great plays, though. The 2-point conversion to Robert Woods. Costly, though, the turnovers, the sack fumble there led to a Carolina field goal. The interception coming up here to Luke Kuechly also led to a Carolina field goal. That's been the difference in the game. On the scoreboard, it's 6 points, and it was on those 2 turnovers by the young quarterback, E.J. Manuel.
And Fred Jackson is in the game. Spiller had a 7th career 100-yard game. They need the receiver here, and the pass caught by Stevie Johnson. And Johnson gets out of bounds after a pickup of 7. 1:30 remaining and no timeouts left, and Johnson holding on to his right hand.
Johnson did a good job getting out of bounds there, avoiding that tackle. Dick, we find ourselves in a situation that almost every game in the NFL comes down to 72% or so of every game comes down to 7 points or less. That's where we are right now.
And the pass up the middle, caught by Fred Jackson, and Jackson gets tripped up as he gets out to the 40-yard line, picking up 12. Bills on their own 40, first down. They need a touchdown and a conversion to win the game. And here's Manuel. And Manuel to Jackson, who breaks the tackle and gets into Carolina territory to the 46. Kuechly missed the tackle there, and Jackson got 14 out of it.
Very patient approach by this Buffalo Bills offense. E.J. Manuel looks very calm leading this drive, stayed in the pocket that was collapsing, made a great throw to his running back.
And Manuel will go again to Jackson, but making no mistake is Thomas Davis. And now the pass incomplete, jarred loose. And that may be a blessing that it was an incomplete pass because it stops the clock.
Look at the pocket collapse around E.J. Manuel. He just steps up, throws it. Kuechly unable to make the tackle. Good yardage by Fred Jackson.
Second down and 10. 40 seconds on the clock. Manuel going underneath to Stevie Johnson. And Johnson will go out of bounds. May have the first down, but it will be a first down and stops the clock with 34 seconds after getting 11.
Dick, we saw some of the Buffalo Bills fans streaming out. I'm seeing a lot of them turning back and coming back into the stadium right now as their team has an opportunity here in the fourth quarter, 34 seconds left to win this football game.
Never give up. These Bills fans have been great. C.J. Spiller has come back in, off his hands, and incomplete. Spiller was the intended receiver and very nearly looming in the air for a Panther to pick it off. It stops the clock with 29 seconds, 2nd and 10 coming up on the 35.
He got a little bit lucky there. Late pass over the middle to his running back, tipped in the air. Fortunately for him, nobody in blue around to catch it.
2nd and 10. And Manuel nearly goes down. And Manuel finds Spiller doing a little of this. See, you know, the Cam Newton magic right there. and getting some yardage for stopping the clock.
Talked about Cam Newton's ability to be elusive. See Cam Newton, his athletic ability, avoids that sack, finds a way to get the ball to C.J. Spiller and stop the clock.
Welcome our audience to this finale here as the Panthers leading the Bills, and the interception by Colin Jones, and a flag goes down. Colin Jones picking off E.J. Manuel. The Bills needing a touchdown and an extra point to win this game.
Pass interference, 59. Defense.
And it's pass interference on Luke Kuechly, and that will result in a first down for the Bills. And they'll have the ball at the 11.
Luke Kuechly is one of the best linebackers in football. You see him sitting here in the middle of the field playing cover 2. He grabs Stevie Johnson, which allows the safety to make that interception. Inopportune time for a pass interference penalty for the Carolina Panthers.
On the 11-yard line, E.J. Manuel flush from the pocket, and the rookie at the 5-yard line gets hit, trying to get the first down, and maybe shy there. And it was Munnerlyn. And the clock showing 6 seconds left, no timeouts left. It's right here for the Bills.
Right here indeed, Dick. He might have one shot to go to the end zone. He can't have a long developing play that doesn't score. Let's see what Nate Hackett comes up with here at the end of this game.
It'll be 2nd and 1. Forget the 1. They've got to get it into the end zone. Carolina trying to stop them and win the game. Here's Manuel with a fade and wide open. Touchdown to Stevie Johnson. Welcome our audience. And the Buffalo Bills just scored a touchdown with 2 seconds left. Wide open was Stevie Johnson in the end zone. Confusion in the secondary, and Dan Carpenter trying to give the Bills the lead in the game, and the kick is good. The extra point is good. And the Bills lead it 24-23, going wild here in Buffalo.
Bedlam here in this stadium. They couldn't be more excited. They were walking out. They walked in to watch their rookie quarterback drive all the way down the field. Look at this, 2 receivers up top. Man-to-man coverage, you see DJ Moore has inside stops on his guys. I think there was a miscommunication, and Stevie Johnson is wide open for the game-winning touchdown, or what could be the game-winning touchdown. 2 seconds left for this kick.
Well, Rondé Barber, you have been in a lot of these games in your great career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And now there is E.J. Manuel's dad, who he said kept the clutter out, kept him humble. He calls him Big Dog, and Big Dog, with no timeouts left, goes 80 yards to give the Bills the lead.
So much excitement in this stadium right now. These Buffalo Bills fans could not be more happy with Doug Marrone and his choice in quarterback. E.J. Manuel leads a last-second 2-minute drive. Dick, I told you before that drive that Carolina has had a problem finishing games. They gave up on going for a touchdown on that last drive, accepted the field goal opportunity, left 1 minute and 35 seconds on the clock for the Bills to drive down. They did, scored a touchdown, and they're on the verge of losing yet another game by less than 1 possession.
And it would be their 10th loss after having the lead in the 4th quarter, unless they can pull out a miracle, really, with 1 second remaining. And the big penalty by Luke Kuechly set up a winning situation for the Bills.
You're going to see about 4 or 5 Bills defenders come down, stand on the end line.
So the only chance for Cam Newton is to
Hail Mary plays are situational football. They practice this a lot.
They can't commit a foul, though, the Bills. Otherwise, they get another play to Carolina, and that will do it. And they go wild here in Buffalo. The Bills have won it 24-23. Kiko Alonso with the sack, and Doug Marrone has won his first game as head coach in the NFL. 24-23, the Bills score with 2 seconds left to win the game. And we'll wrap up things from Buffalo after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.